As health and life agents in the Medicare space, I think sometimes we can be guilty for projecting future Medicare issues based on CMS regulation, at least as the primary driver of change. And no doubt, when CMS comes out with new rules, new compliance standards, new requirements, or states come out with new guaranteed issue rights or DOI requirements, that regulation matters. But I think one of the biggest shifts in Medicare doesn't always come from regulations. It may come from the economics of Medicare itself. At the end of the day, if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan or if you're on a Medicare supplement, both of them still have to obey what happens to the insurance market, right? And insurance markets ultimately respond to different costs and margins and how much risk is in the environment and whether it's a profitable environment or not. It's not just based on what regulation comes down the pipe, though regulation absolutely is a part of it. Don't mishear me. So right now we're seeing large economic pressure across multiple areas. Medicare Advantage, the rate pressure is tightening. It feels like every day with utilizations increasing, claims increasing, the star pressures, network cost increasing, the reduced comp share, and that creates margin compression. And when that margin compresses, a carrier has to adjust to remain profitable. And they don't just adjust because CMS told them to. We're going to regulate you. No, it's because the economics behind what they were doing and what is sustainable changes. That's why you see fewer PPOs. It's not because PPOs are bad. It's why we're seeing narrower networks or more care management or more disciplined benefits. It's not because there's regulation that comes out that's required these things. It's because the economics behind where Medicare is right now. And we're seeing similar dynamics in the Medicare supplement side. Medical inflation continues to increase significantly, not just year over year, but month over month. Utilization continues to increase, not just year over year, but I'm talking month over month. A block is going to continue to age no matter what happens with CMS regulation. And those forces create claim pressure towards the Medigap carrier. And when claims rise, premiums have to follow because, Medigap carriers aren't federally funded and just have infinite checks they can strike. And once again, this is not because of regulation. It's because the economics behind the whole insurance market in general. And I think this is important because many agents try to predict the future of Medicare by just watching regulation, just seeing what CMS has to say, just taking part in whatever Congress is passing down, right? But regulation is subservient to the economics of the market. Economics drive the market. I'll give an example. So what are we seeing right now? We're seeing commission pressure on both Medigap and MA side. We're seeing plan consolidation, benefit discipline, pricing adjustments on both sides of the page. And this is largely due to the economics in Medicare, not because of regulation. So you have carriers that have to adjust to rising claims, have to adjust to margin pressure, have to adjust to competitive pricing, whether it's a $0 MA that has better benefits or a cheaper plan N or plan G. And this is where the next major shift in Medicare is probably going to come in, not because of some CMS rule and regulation, but it's this gradual economic shift towards stability, towards discipline, towards risk management. Historically, Medicare has gone through these cycles before. This isn't our first time. They have periods of great expansion with rich benefits, aggressive pricing, rapid growth. In fact, Medicare Advantage went through this before, and then in 2010, you saw it go down, and now it's trended up since then. After this great expansion, you see discipline follow, tighter pricing, significantly more control, and slower growth in those areas. And it looks like we've entered one of those more disciplined phases. If that's true, then we'll continue to see fewer aggressive plan designs, a lot more conservative pricing, and greater focus on sustainability rather than eating up the majority of the market. Now, that's going to affect you as an agent. I'm not saying it's going to negatively affect you. It's going to affect consumers. We're seeing it right now with price increases. We're seeing it with MAs leaving the counties where people are at. And it's going to affect the carriers. As an agent, this conversation, for you at least, should shift from, hey, what's the lowest premium or the best benefit plan right now, to what's the most durable plan I can help this member with? For consumers, it's going to mean fewer flashy benefits, fewer U cards, fewer Part B buybacks, fewer dental benefits. but more stable long-term options for the carrier, which is good for the member. And then for carriers, this means more disciplined plans, slower growth almost exclusively, and a much greater focus on profitability rather than owning the market. Now, none of this requires regulation. It's simply economics. CMS doesn't have to give a call for these things to happen or sound an alarm. Historically, economic shifts tend to happen gradually, though. It's not like an overnight thing. And that makes it harder to notice, but it's often a lot more impactful. So while regulation will always play a role in Medicare, the next major shift might not just be from some CMS political talking point, right? It may come from the economics that we're seeing right now shift and shape our current market as it continues to mature. And I would say that's probably something worth watching closely. As the economics of our market shifts, the entire Medicare landscape tends to shift with it. And it has to, because ultimately, the market follows the dollar.